And we are live once again here on Plus One EXP for our next session of our actual play series of The Between. We are on episode 9 of our actual play series, and let's get back into it really quickly. If you're just catching us on this episode and you don't know anything about Plus One and you don't know anything about The Between, I'm glad you're here. But this is a really interesting place to have started. So we're going to skip all the intro stuff and just get straight into the game. I'm going to hand things over to Jason.
Thank you, Tony. Very happy to be back. I'm happy to see that all of the players are in Victorian era London, and I am once again in Hawaii. So that's where I'm running the game from. So we need to do some recapping eventually, but really what we need to do is our dawn phase, which we did not have time to do last time. And so let's get these characters some experience points. Also, hello to chat. I have not dived into chat to say hello to everybody yet. Dawn phase. Reach back 2 weeks into your memory to figure out what happened, to think about what happened last time. Let's get our little phase tracker going here. Where's the phase tracker? I'm having a hard time seeing it. Anyway, first things first, let's just do XP and get that sorted out. So let's take a look at our Dawn questions. Did you all answer a capital Q question last time? I can't recall.
I thought we did because we tried to decide if Rick was human or not, or still had human
Yes,
abilities.
we did.
Yes.
That is correct.
It's been
that is
2
correct.
weeks. Yeah,
it has been 2 weeks. Yeah, everybody gets credit for that one. You did not resolve the threat yet, although there is one less threat on the board. We'll get to that in a moment. You did, however, I think everybody got Echoes in the Night. I'm pretty sure everyone was hitting Echoes in the Night really hard last time.
pretty dang well last time.
Yeah. So good job on that. Let's go to the individual questions. Langfisk, did you ensure that your employer, Lord Grey, got credit for your triumphs?
No.
Did you engage in a petty reprisal of someone who angered Lord Grey?
Absolutely. By fighting Rick Miller.
Oh, that's right. Oh yeah. That's good.
That's a good fight.
Yeah. Dr. Spectum, did you dismiss the possibility of a supernatural explanation despite everything you've experienced, aka did you have a Scully moment?
Yeah, I did. Absolutely.
I recall it. And did you secretly engage in romantic or emotional behavior at odds with your aloof, logical exterior?
I'm pretty sure I did. I think that scene we had with we had a scene with that vulnerable scene we did in the kitchen, I think was.
Oh yeah. That was really good. Yeah. Fantastic. Lord Grey, did you express a clear preference for the beautiful over the mundane?
I tried because our vampire friend grossed me out very bad, and he messed up my room.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah.
I'm still mad about it.
Yeah. I think. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a very significant expression of preference for beauty over mundanity. Did you secretly show a vulnerable side to someone?
I don't know if doing that vulnerable move counts with Nox or asking for Tim's help. I don't know, like how much.
I think it wants a more like emotional vulnerability.
That's what I was like. I think it needs to be like emotional vulnerability. Yeah. So no.
Our brand new character, Septimus Tim Redding. Did you perform a ritual? Yes, you did.
I did.
The ritual that disposed of Julius. Did you have a face-to-face encounter with the Dark Entity? Same incident, dealing with Julius. So fantastic. Everybody picks up some XP. Did anyone advance off of that?
I did.
Okay, awesome. Do you know what advancement you're taking?
I'm just going to increase a stat. I had meant to have a custom move ready, but I still don't. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like we've been talking about that custom move for a while.
It'll happen one day.
Someday
I'll mark all my masks and die, and no one will ever see it.
Yeah, someday. Fantastic. Okay, that is that part of the phase sorted. I guess at this point we also need to resolve night work, right, Dr. Spectum?
Oh my gosh, so much night work.
And also the Resurrectionist too. You've got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I got a lot of dusk, a lot of dawn.
Yeah.
A lot of things to do.
Let's figure it out. Okay, so night work says You get to choose 3 from your little list of options
3
here.
things, yeah, and they are just so anybody knows: find a clue that can only be used for a future threat. Acquire a body part for the child, can be chosen more than once, and you find a keepsake. Ask another hunter what it is, and then add it to your personal quarters. We are going to pick find a keepsake, ask another hunter what it was, and add it to your personal quarters. Because I think we have one of those narratively in queue either way.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to find a body part for the child. And man, we're getting so close. I actually think we're going to find 2 body parts for the child, which means I'm going to owe a couple of narrations over the course of the session. I think we're going to get blood, and I think we're going to get hair. Which means the only thing we have left are head, sex organs, and eyes.
Wow, really close.
We're getting close there. For that
body part.
Yeah, two body parts and a keepsake. And I think I'm going to ask Vyn if they have a keepsake that they might want to add to Nox's personal quarters.
Something found in the scuzzy streets of London. Yeah.
Tim is going to give Nox that skin vampire head.
From the
nice.
Banished body. The skull of Julius.
Fantastic. Good. I love it. All right, love that. And let's take a look at the Resurrectionists as well, your gang of grave robbers, which also went out last night.
Yeah, I think the grave robbers we're gonna do another body part.
This is the quick roll up on the child, like really, really fast.
Yeah, it's been fun. I'm super excited to make that roll. We could make it very soon, actually, because we could do night work again and be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we're gonna go with another item. Actually, let's do a clue. We'll do a clue or can they do a clue?
Who has to define it, me or you?
That's what I'm trying to look. I know they will accompany you, other valuables during the night.
Oh no, they don't do a clue.
Parts, no clues for them.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to swap out one of my body parts for a clue up above then.
Okay.
And we'll take a current clue from you.
Okay, sounds good.
And then I will
on that real quick.
We'll take another body part from the grave robbers.
Okay, sounds good. In that case, so I think Harley White comes back to you, and he's always. I think Harley keeps like a kind of he keeps like a certain sense of what Hargrave House is up to and what you're working on, so that he kind of knows what to look out for that might be of use to you beyond just digging up body parts. And I think he will come back to you, and we're going to give you a clue. We're going to give you a clue for the cursed threat. And the cursed threat clue is going to be, he overheard a story of someone who supposedly escaped the beast by diving into the Thames. That's your clue.
Thames is spelled Thames, right?
Thames.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Excellent.
Are there any other playbook moves that we have to resolve in the phase? Okay. Does anyone have any Janus Mask or other narrations, like numerous body parts, that they want to go ahead and do?
We all put on a bunch of masks last time.
I know, and I feel like we're probably going to spend up most of the session
doing masks.
Doing all these. I know. Take a look and see what you all owe on that, because we need to give the audience what they came for.
Oh,
here.
I did mine. I think we may have done a lot of these last time actually too, because we were in late.
I did my Mask of Revelry. Yeah.
Yeah, because narrate a flashback to the first time you experienced love for the person you lost was my baby Nox.
Also
I
remember that. Yeah,
so Yeah, I think we did do a lot of these.
Okay, well,
now I'm remembering them.
I know. Well, we definitely are. We definitely need some body part flashbacks for Dr. Spectum, but otherwise, I think we're good to go. Then, if you all think of something or see something, let me know. And I think that's pretty much it in the Dawn phase. You can change your Dawn questions if you want to. I'm sure Twitch will remind me if I'm forgetting something in the Dawn phase. Our phase tracker is not working on the character sheet, so let's dive into the day phase. Let's recap a little bit. So you have 2 active threats. You had 3, but we saw in last episode's Stinger, we saw that Theodore Brathwaite has gotten her hands on the Whately camera. And so the Whately camera is now a servant of the mastermind and is no longer an active threat that you can attempt to resolve.
So Jason, tell us a little bit about, like, for folks who don't know, what does that mean? Like, obviously clears the clues, that threat's gone, but what does it mean?
So I'm keeping track of the campaign on my own, like, kind of character sheet, so to speak. It's the campaign sheet, but it's very much like a fill in those spaces kind of sheet, and I change things and adjust things as the campaign progresses and make notes and things. And one part of the campaign sheet is what's called the servants. And these are the minions of the mastermind. And the campaign sheet has like 3 or 4 listed already. They come into play late in the campaign, like a little later, they start to like attack Hargrave House directly. But once you've unlocked a certain part of the campaign, then the mastermind can take one of the active threats and make them into a servant. And so it takes that threat off the table from Hargrave House resolving it and basically keeps it in the campaign for the rest of the time. And it's a danger for the remainder of the campaign, and it probably has a connection to whatever the mastermind's ultimate plan is. So it was the Whately camera was a particularly cruel one to take because you all had a ton of clues on it. But that's how it happens, how it goes sometimes. It was either that or the lurker. She really wanted the lurker, so but missed out on the lurker. So that's sort of the deal there. So yeah, the Whately camera, we are never going to be done with it. The Whately camera is always going to be a problem, basically. Yeah, so let's take a look at our 2 active threats that we do have here. So we have the Creature of Cremorne Gardens and the Cursed. You determined last time that the Creature of Cremorne Gardens, that it is a real creature, that there is a monstrous fish man actually terrorizing Chelsea Harbor and Cremorne Gardens. And your question that you have to answer is, if it is a real fish man, what does it want? That's a complexity 4. The opportunity is to resolve the threat by luring the creature to you, then destroying it or convincing it to go back wherever it came from, your choice. You have 3 available clues right now on that. And of course, the Cursed, which is the aftermath of Rick Miller's transformation into a werewolf. Rick Miller is wrecking shit all over the city right now, causing no end of mayhem and death. And that is an issue that needs to be resolved with the quickness. You have determined that the curse is reversible, so there is a chance to save Rick Miller here. Your new question is, what is the creature's weakness? It's a complexity 4. It allows you to resolve the threat by performing a ritual or other procedure to reverse the transformation for good. And then the creature, when the creature returns to Hargrave House, because we know it's going to come back to Hargrave House. And so you have 3 clues right now on that. And of course, because there's only 2 active threats, I will introduce a 3rd active threat. And so let's dive into that right now. No, let's take a look at the hunters first. I want to just check in on conditions because it's been a minute. Right now, Langfist has the conditions suspicious and marked by the cursed. That second one, big problem. The mother, Dr. Spectum, has most beloved and the nature of life and death. Lord Grey has she's in my head and shaken, and Septimus Redding has drained. There's a few problematic conditions on the table, so you might want to keep that in mind when you're thinking about your day phase. And in terms of mastermind clues, you have 8 right now. Okay, now new threat. Our new threat is called Sally No Face. The Daily Telegraph has a story about a washerwoman named Clara Yarborough who was found dead in a hallway of her tenement house in Whitechapel. Her face had been carefully, surgically removed. This is actually the third such crime this month. The other two victims, Edward Clive and Dolly Merriweather, also lived in Whitechapel. People are already saying it's old Sally No Face who's doing it. But Sally No Face is just a legend. Children have been singing her song in the streets for as long as anyone can remember. Poor old Sally, trapped in a fire, her looks burned up without a trace. If you're lovely with fate most dire, she'll come and take your lovely face. Langfisk, you have a history with Clara Yarborough, or you did. What is it?
They went out to eat one time.
Is it me? Langfisk?
Langfisk, yeah.
Oh my god. Clara Yarborough worked for me. She was part of one of my Hargrave irregulars or informals.
Oh, okay. So she has a really direct connection to Hargrave House. So that actually might be why you're all paying attention to this now, because there were two other victims.
Wes, you are hot.
Yeah, you're really hot.
Your
on
mic's
mic, Wes.
up high.
Yeah.
Like I just heard a car going by on the road outside.
Fantastic. So yeah, Hargrave House, very, very direct connection. This is probably why this is on your radar now. You have 3 questions here. Where is the killer hiding? That's a complexity 4. You can resolve the threat by infiltrating the killer's lair, then capturing or destroying her or them. But bear in mind, you are then on Sally No Face's territory. So it's probably a tough fight. Alternatively, how is the killer choosing their victims? Complexity 6. Resolve the threat by luring the killer to you, then capturing or destroying them. So a trickier, slightly harder question, but maybe a slightly less dangerous resolution. And then finally, what is the true identity of the killer and what drove them to this madness? That's complexity 8. The most difficult question, but potentially the most safe or satisfying resolution, which is resolve the threat by empathizing with the killer, then bringing them in peacefully. You also have an aspect of the Janus mask called the Mask of Beauty. Each hunter narrates a flashback to a time when they felt truly beautiful. Let's go around the table and see what everyone wants to do. We've got 3 active threats now, a lot of leads. I'm going to start with Tim. What do you think?
I guess I want to wrap up, or at least get another clue for the curse. So hitting the streets for werewolf shit.
Yeah, and we have some actually really specific leads there too. We have that bricklayer who was found dead at a building site on Baker Street. And so that is something we still haven't looked into. I do think we went to the judge's house and we also talked to Miss Tompkins. So that's, but otherwise you can just kind of generally roam around and try to see what you can find out. Okay. Lord Gray, what's your thought?
Just so you know, Tim, the judge has a ghost. If you're interested,
that's right. The judge does have a ghost.
A terrible ghost that I don't like, but if you like ghosts, right? No, I feel like probably depend like how like why is Whitechapel? It's not a nice part of town, is it? It's kind of like what's the vibe on that socioeconomically for Lord Gray?
Poor. Fucking dirt poor.
Very dirt poor. No. Yeah, it's probably the worst neighborhood in London.
Absolutely not. I'm going to go... let's finish up the creature of Cremorne Gardens so Ms. Brathwaite doesn't get more critters.
Oh, well, she can only do that once in the game. But
yeah, she can?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. But nevertheless, it's nearly ready to be sorted out.
Yeah.
It's helpful to know that it actually is a real creature. So,
yes.
What's your approach, though? What are you going to do?
Let's see. I think... this is the Tim's, I think, is also noted in the creature of Cremorne Gardens. So if Tim wants an accompaniment, I am very here to go down to the river, the nasty, nasty river, and go see. Or if you had someone else you wanted to go with, go check out that, like the wax people, like the wax museum people, and see if it's lurking around their thing. So I'm open. I just want to get the creature solved.
Hell yeah.
Well, Langfisk, what are you going to do then?
I'm afraid to say anything because I might be too hot. I don't know.
You're not too hot anymore. It definitely sounds like I messaged Wes in our channel. It sounds like a different microphone than you normally have. Like it sounds like either that or the gain got tipped up.
Yeah, it's okay. It doesn't sound better now.
No, but I can also turn you down on my end, and you can't do anything about it. I guess.
I don't. I mean, that's about as far down as.
Yeah, you might be on a different mic.
No, I'm on my mic.
Okay, we'll figure that out later.
Second.
We don't need to spend a ton of time on it. I can adjust things on my end for viewers' pleasure.
Dr. Spectum, or actually, well, Langfist, what are your thoughts on what you want to do today? So.
I was going to go check on Clara Yarborough.
Good plan. Dr. Spectum, there is a body. A couple of bodies.
I mean, I'm gonna go check out them faceless folks.
Yeah, sounds good. Different mortuary. These bodies, so you may have to go meet some new mortuary workers. And Langfist, are you actually going to Clara's apartment then, or her flat? Okay.
Yeah, and I was going to plan on bringing somebody with me as
okay.
well.
Cool.
I was going to bring by Kip Longfellow.
Oh, Kip. Do you want to go ahead and make that roll?
Absolutely. That is 9 with a 0 presence.
All right, so that means that Kip will show up, but in his own due time, or he might just be kind of annoying. I think I'm going to go with that latter option. Let's start with Lord Grey and Septimus. So, walking the river. What an interesting choice. And this is in the hopes of sorting out the creature of Cremor Gardens and possibly Rick as well, like maybe seeing if there's like some connections to both of them. That's a good way to spend your resources, I guess.
That is up to Septimus whether that was actually their plan.
That's perfect.
Let's have that scene. We'll
2 monsters, 1 river.
Yeah, exactly. Precisely. Septimus, why don't you frame up the scene? Tell us what's going on.
I think it just looks like a casual promenade between 2 best friends, but eagle eyes on the road across the water. Anything, scales, fur, teeth, entrails, things that just look a little bit out of the norm in this already like kind of gross area to begin with. Yeah.
Make the let's get a roll on the table and then we'll have a scene. Go ahead and give me the roll. Septimus with reason, I would say, and I don't think drained is going to affect it.
All right. Okay, big money, no whammies. That's a 7.
7. Okay, you get a clue plus complication. What are you doing right now at the same time, Lord Grey?
I'm doing a very similar thing. Hopefully we're not too close to the river because like that's nasty. But I don't want to walk in the mud, and like I'm very vocal about that, but only if necessary. But I am doing a very similar thing to Tim. I'm scanning the water and by the water to see if I see any like unusual movement. I'm not like an expert at animals, but I know like a fish monster when I see it.
Yeah, that's good. I'll give you a roll as well. We'll get a roll on the table for you. Yours will also be reason.
Oh God. That's a -1, babes. It's a 3.
A 3. Okay, hold that thought. Let's check in on Dr. Spectum. Dr. Spectum, the mortuary in Whitechapel is probably one of the busiest ones because this neighborhood is decrepit and filled with death and destitution. So let's talk about it. It is, of course, brightly lit, smells quite strongly of chemicals. Everything is very neatly arranged. Let's paint the scene first, everyone. I'd also be curious to hear from chat, too. is there a certain beauty in death? And if so, what do we see here at the mortuary that confirms this?
On all of these poor souls' face, it seems like it's relief that it's finally over. All that toiling that was for nothing, it's finally done.
I think that there is Knox is probably the person here who appreciates it the most because it's an anatomical beauty. Someone in particular's entrails have been cut out, but they are just so it's perfect. It's almost surgical the way they look. It's like one of those anatomical Venuses, and it's kind of astounding.
Whereas in other morgues, we've seen the casual disregard for prior possessions. Here we see outside that people have made a number of memorial leavings and offerings. And you can tell that there are coins and other small valuables tucked away, but rather than having just quickly absconded with them, people have let them be, at least for a little while longer.
Well, they say everyone is equal in death, and together, the mortuary shares a single bouquet of wildflowers.
Fantastic. Dr. Aspectum, you do know this mortuary worker, though perhaps not as well as Pate. This is Peter, well-known fact that all mortuary workers have names that start with P in Victorian-era London. Peter Jacobson. His coat is actually kind of dingy, dingy white coat. It's very sweaty. He also looks really young, too young to be handling bodies probably, but here we are. He says, "Oh, you look familiar. Are you a consultant with Scotland Yard?"
On a number of occasions, yes. I think we met a while ago when you had first started. You were doing a tour and we had overlapped, but yes, I've come down to see the the three faceless individuals.
Oh, the Sally No Face killings.
Well, to be determined.
Indeed. Are you here in some sort of official capacity, sir?
Oh, there have been a number of people who have asked me to come by. As you can imagine, it's quite the talk of both medical and mortuarial and as well as criminological societies. Whenever a face or a body part or a serial killer appears, then it tends to create quite a tizzy in a number of circles.
Well, unfortunately, Mr. Clive and Ms. Merriweather are already 6 feet under, but I do have the records that we made when we examined the bodies, if you'd like to look at those. And Ms. Yarborough, on the other hand, and he looks almost like too excited to show you Miss Yarborough's body.
Yes.
Well, I've never seen anything like it. It's really incredible.
I can't wait to see. Can you lead the way?
He takes you to the table. They haven't even put her in a drawer or anything yet. She's just laid out on a table, and he pulls back the tarp, and as the report says, you just see facial musculature, gums, teeth, tongue, eyeballs, and sockets. Hair, ears, all of this, skin, face removed, and the cuts, beautiful, exquisite, fine, well-made cuts. This person is so good with a scalpel, whoever did the killing.
I think the audience here sees a mirrored like intake of breath between Peter and Knox. There's a dualism as they both stand over the body of two people equally enraptured. As Knox goes to like run his finger almost lovingly along the cheekbone before like pulling back and realizing that he's not properly prepared.
I love this sort of like professional respect that you and Sally No Face have for each other at this point, or it's great. But let's get into brass tacks. Do you want to go ahead and do your under the skin move?
Yeah, we do want to do under the skin.
Fantastic. Okay, so this, like all the mother moves, are just automatic win moves. In this case, when you examine a corpse, you can ask me two questions there. What do you want to ask?
We are gonna ask the questions. Let's see. We're gonna ask the questions. What would an untrained eye overlook here?
Okay.
I think we're gonna just go with how did this person die, more so than potentially their face was ripped off. But
I mean, they had to have been immobilized or
Yeah.
killed prior, right? Yeah. So, all right, we'll let you do your investigation. Let's check in with Langfisk and Kip Longfellow. Oh boy, Langfisk, how do you feel when young Master Kip comes to the front door at Hargrave House?
Kip, what the bloody hell are you doing?
He's like, well, I just wanted to ring the bell. I've never rung a bell like that before.
Oh, you never ring a bloody bell, mate. All right, get inside.
Well, not
now.
one like that. And he comes in. Kip Longfellow is, street urchin. He's actually quite short for his age. He smells of hay. He's weirdly red. You know how some people are just kind of red? He's one of those people. And he's looking around and he's like, oh, I've never been inside a place like this before. It looks like a cathedral. Like I expect someone to give me the body of Christ if I...
You ever been in a cathedral before?
Well, no, but I know what's meant to happen in a cathedral. That has to count for something.
Okay, yeah. Well, people, you're supposed to be quiet in a cathedral, Kip.
And he's looking around. He's just picking up things. Picks up a vase, just looking, messing with stuff. What do you do?
All right, mate. I'm gonna tell you right now. You and I, we're gonna hop on down to Claire's apartment. All right. I'm gonna take a gander. Don't take anything unless you're to give it to me.
He puts back a small figurine of a silver tiger that you didn't actually see him grab. He's pretty good.
Kip, you don't know what's bloody cursed in this house, all right?
He's like, cursed? You don't believe in that stuff, do you, Mr. Langfisk?
I didn't. And then I did.
My mother always said she was cursed. I wonder what she meant by that.
Really? You really don't know?
I don't know. I guess the Longfellows, well, we have had a bad history, I suppose. We have a lot of murderers and thieves in our lineage.
Well, I'm so glad that your family has you to count on to turn them away from that bad rap. So now, instead of focusing on your bad history, I'm going to provide you an awful future if you do not march yourself out that bloody fucking door right now.
Right. And he's still like kind of looking around the house as he's like going out through the front door. And, you have to like kind of push him along, to get him to kind of get out. And yeah, Kip is in play. We'll deal with Clara Yarborough's flat and Kip in just a moment. So let's check back in on our two supernatural weirdos walking around the river. Let's get a clue sorted here for the cursed that you find, Septimus. It was an interesting thing that Harley White heard about this story that a person being pursued by Rick managed to escape by just getting into the Thames. It probably says a lot about the creature's condition and kind of what is a weakness of the creature. But there's something else that maybe is more likely to catch your attention, I would say. And that is that as you're walking around looking for, just any kind of evidence, any kind of sign of this, of the beast's passage, you're going to notice you're actually going to overhear, I'm going to say, you're going to overhear a lot of chatter about the beast. This werewolf, this lycanthrope, has caused so much death and destruction in the city in the last week. The attack on Cremorne Gardens was huge. It's killing people, it's damaging property, and it is very much the talk of London. It is particularly the talk of London in places where it's been. And it has been in a lot of rough places, Judge Thornwick's home aside. And so you'll overhear dock workers, you'll overhear, street sweepers, chimney sweeps, that kind of thing. Like you'll hear them, gossiping and talking about this. And I think actually it's not the kind of thing that people would normally hear just walking around, but you're able to hear it, Septimus. How is it like for you to experience that? Like, how do you observe or learn this stuff from people?
I think it's more of a mental trick to turn the cacophony into a symphony of clues. Just like listening to everything at once and like narrowing down, okay, that's trash, that's actual trash, that's the laundry, like people's list and until they hear something specific about the creature and they just kind of slow down to focus more.
The most interesting things you're hearing are from people who are not from London or from England, but are from other countries. There's a certain consistency in the stories of lycanthrope communities in those countries. Those communities always being located near churches. And you might even overhear someone say, I think I saw it sleeping near a church down the way. That's your clue. Lycanthrope communities sheltering near churches. Of course, you have a complication on your clue as well. Someone knows you're listening to people's conversations and thoughts because they say, who are you? In your head.
Just someone who is trying to right a wrong. Who are you?
I'm someone who's doing the same thing you're doing. I'm reaching out. I'm hopping from person to person, like stones in a river.
Wasn't that coincidental being near the Thames and all? Are you near? Would you like to speak? This is awful. And I think they're saying this out loud because being a little stunned by this communication. So
I'm not near. I'm actually much, much better at this than you. And our power levels aren't even comparable, frankly. I'm nowhere near. I can do this from anywhere in the city.
Oh, congratulations, Mr. or Miss or Mix. I can do it anywhere from the city. You caught me off guard.
What on?
But I wouldn't mind getting to know you better. Come and find me tonight, Chelsea Harbor.
Fine. That sounds like something.
I'm going to give you a condition. Marked by Greco, the second-sided boy.
Oh my god, yes. I was hoping that was the case. The entire time, Bastion's just looking at you, like mouthing. At one point, he says, "What did you just say?" And then when you don't reply, it's just like waiting for you to stop doing whatever weird shit you're doing. Like, I think you might assume it's a ghost.
That same voice says, "Watch this." And Lord Grey, you find yourself falling asleep as you, like, your eyes get heavy and you just are about to stumble down. This is your miss circumstance. What do you do to resist?
I think the first thing that happens is I grab Tim's shoulder so I don't fall down, and I try to like keep myself upright, and if I can't do it, you see him reach into his like jacket pocket and take a swig of what is cocaine wine.
Let's do a day move. What are you afraid is going to happen if this approach fails?
That I'm gonna like pass out at this terrible, nasty little river, and well, that's just really inconvenient.
Oh, it will be. Go ahead and roll with vitality, and I think because of shaken, I'm going to put you at disadvantage as well.
Of course. All right. Oh. 4, 5, 6. That's an 8.
An 8. Very good. I think you, yeah, okay. I think you'll be able to like keep yourself together there. I think you'll be fine. I'm going to give you another condition. So in addition to she's in my head, you're also going to have he's in my head.
God, these people. These
except
motherfuckers.
this one's literally in your head.
Ugh,
But tell me how
no
you just
peace.
how do you keep it together?
I think like there's a moment of like, Tim, you're very sure this person beside you is about to just absolutely hit the floor and it's going to be your problem to deal with, or just leave him. That's your business. But no, never. And just he absolutely completely drains this little ornamental flask and actually drops it, like doesn't even put it back in his pocket, and like stands there for what feels like forever. And he's like, I'm fine. Just fine. Pulls out a fucking cocaine cigarette, like starts smoking, and is like, I'm fine.
The voice says, I must be getting rusty. And then you don't hear from them anymore. Septimus.
I know you just repeated, you're fine. Are you?
I am very fine. What? This is not. Who are you talking to? That's more important than this. I'm fine.
Obviously, you don't worry. That's over.
Is this one of your ghosts again, or
possibly. I'm not sure, but I am meeting this entity.
Oh?
Yeah.
Did you get an invite?
In here, yes.
Oh, you know, I really should have taken you with me. It's a shame you're on vacation. The judge, that little piece of shit, he has a ghost I think you would find interesting. Terrible, awful, but like that seems to be your thing. So
They purse their lips to hold back a comment on a terrible company. and instead continues their walk with a start.
Let's check in with Dr. Spectum. Dr. Spectum, you have asked, how did they die? And what would an untrained eye overlook here? The answers to both will ultimately result in clues, but let's go a little deeper than that. First things first, what would an untrained eye miss? Well, you actually notice some smudges, uncharacteristic of the killer's work so far, but you notice some smudges just at the edge of where the incision would have been made to remove Ms. Yarborough's face. Now, these smudges are red, and Peter and co. probably thought that this was blood. But you can tell that it's not blood. And when you investigate a little further, it's obvious that what it actually is rouge, like you would use to paint your face with. And that's your clue. The second clue, Ms. Yarborough was clearly poisoned, either to kill her or to immobilize her in some way so that the surgery could be done. In either case, you know this because there's a distinct blackening of the veins that you can see, which indicates poison. And the blackened veins is the clue. We'll pick up with that, though. So what do you do afterwards? Peter's just watching you the whole time, and he says, so, perfectly ghoulish, don't you think? He says, with his tone of voice indicating he doesn't think it's ghoulish at all. Why do you suppose somebody would want to do something like this?
For many, and I lean slightly closer into his body space than I think we normally see Knox engage in. For many people, something like this might seem ghoulish, despicable, profane. But for many people, it might hold fascination or excitement or a deep thirst for understanding. And so really it's a matter of perspective to a certain degree. I don't know. What do you think they might have done it?
Oh, well, I reckon they just want to wear the face. You know, just do untoward things with the face. Sex things, probably.
It's always sex things, isn't it? Well, I suppose, but did you notice the veins down here? And I'll point at the blackening along them.
Is this oh yes, we definitely noticed that.
Yes. And I'm sure put it on your report. It's odd, isn't it? You have to wonder at a certain point, how quickly did they set about this work after immobilizing the person? You have to wonder whether they waited until they had passed or whether the person was mildly aware of what was happening to them as they passed. And really, like, I'm just trying to see if I can get in this guy's head or if he is super into this.
I think he just says, how much longer are you going to be, Doctor? I really would like to go get a sandwich.
Oh, I mean, you're welcome to go get a sandwich. I would love to just take a moment with the body. Would you mind? And I'll motion at some nearby surgical tools.
Yes.
Would you mind if I took a closer look?
Oh, no, not at all. she's already dead, right?
Indeed.
And he turns and he says, for science and forensic inquiry, of course.
Always.
Good. I suppose we should try to figure out who her family is. And he goes to have his sandwich and leaves you to it. What are you going to do? You're going to cut her open and...
I don't know that I'm, well, I mean, I want to, I want to peel back the skin around the neck. And what Knox specifically is probing for is really kind of exactly what he expressed, like based on the amount of the lack of blood around the wounds and a number of other kind of bits. I basically want to try to see if I can tell whether this person died before or after they stopped being ordered. Basically, were they paralyzed or were they dead when this face?
I'll
was
give you that
removed?
for free.
Okay.
They were paralyzed.
Okay.
Yeah, and so they were awake the whole time that the surgery was happening.
Yeah, so I think he's hitting and he's basically looking at how the blood veins tracking through in order to do that. And then I think I will cut open and just take a deeper look into the body. Just mostly at this point admiring the interior beauty of this person's anatomy.
Of course, yes. There are probably no more capital C clues to find, but you can certainly try to grab a body part if you want.
I mean, I'm down to try to grab a body part. I'm never against trying to grab a body part.
We'll handle that with day move. What do you afraid is going to happen if you are not able to successfully do this?
Yeah, I don't think I'm so much worried about being able to successfully remove a part of the body so much as I'm worried that Peter will come back early. I think I'm probably more concerned that he will be excited by that and ask too many questions than that I will get in trouble.
Oh, very good. Make the roll with composure.
That is 3, 7, 10 on the dice. So that's 12.
Nice.
Wait, 3. I had to type the wrong things. Hold
Wait,
on.
how many dice did you roll?
I only rolled 2, but I must have hit D8 instead of the D6. Hold on. That's
no one.
3 plus 6, which is a 9, so 11 instead of 12.
Oh, okay. Do you want to bump it up to a 12?
No. Do we get a mastermind clue at a 12? What do we get at a 12?
You get either a mastermind clue, or I can share some more of their history, or both. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I'll give you a mastermind clue.
Let me see what's next on that list for me.
Oh, actually, no. This is not information move. This is day move. So
yeah,
you get a bonus.
We'll just leave it the way it is. We'll just leave
okay. Yeah, I would give you a regular clue if you wanted to.
Well, I would just leave it where it is.
All right. We'll come back to this in a moment. You're at Whitechapel, Langfisk, with young Master Kip, and Whitechapel's not the greatest neighborhood in town. It is filled with, even in the day, sex workers of every stripe. It is people who are who are currently unhoused. There are people who are, let's just say that the police constables don't even really come here anymore. It's just crumbling tenements and litter and the poorest of the poor in London. And Kip, of course, says, dreadful shame what goes on in this part of the city. Don't you think, Mr. Langfisk?
Yes, but not for the reasons that you may think so, Kip.
Oh, it makes you wonder what causes people to fall down in such hard times,
It's typically some cunt that's got the boot on the back of the head.
Yes, I suppose it is. He is also a street person. Just, but, maybe he's from he's a nicer street. I don't know, but he's kind of like kind of looking down his nose on people of Whitechapel, and he kind of points across the way and he says, "Oh, that beggar over there, I know him. That's Old Boot."
They call him Old Boot.
Old Boot. You don't want to know why he's called Old Boot, Mr. Langfisk.
Well, now I know. I want to know why they call him Old Boot, because you told me I don't want to know, and I want to know that.
Oh, it's a sad and sorry story, Mr. Langfisk. Oh. And the man has so little human dignity left. I don't think he even knows his real name anymore. He just goes by Boot. Isn't that sad?
When I found
and
you,
not any but an old Boot.
When I found you, you were outside of a pub down in lower London drinking gin out of a boot. Practically. Shouldn't we be calling you Old Boot, Kip?
But at least I didn't eat a boot, which I believe is how he's now called, Old Boot.
Let's see how that could be quite worse. All right. We are about to arrive at Miss Yarborough's apartment. Please try not to steal anything. I know how sticky your fingers are, but if you do see something of interest, please.
Well, Mr. Langfisk, she is dead, correct? And if she lived here, she certainly has no family to come and collect her things, or who cares about her.
Do you want to be haunted, Kip? Do you want a ghost to crawl around wherever you rest your head at night, following you, attached to you, because you decided that you wanted to grab someone's handkerchief collection and try to pawn it off for a couple drops of laudanum?
Laudanum, Mr. Langfisk? Really? But no, I suppose not.
Well, can we?
After you, sir. And you can go into Clara Yarborough's building. Let's talk about that building. 3 stories. Beggars and other folk kind of in the halls. Squatters. It's very, very poorly lit. Let's paint the scene, everyone. This building was originally a charity project, now abandoned, for some wealthy do-gooder. What faded remnants of their largesse do we see in the building?
A plaque with their name on it.
What was the prompt one more time?
The building was this rundown building was originally a charity project, now abandoned for a wealthy do-gooder. What faded remnants of their largesse do we see?
There is a statue at the far end of a little exterior corridor that has had the head obviously knocked off and reattached a number of times.
The halls are faded, but they are painted with the family's crest colors.
There is a portrait that used to hang proudly above the stairs, but has been relegated down next to leading towards the basement, that had a plaque that said "Our Founder," and it showed that very founder, and it had been clearly graffitied with "What a cunt" in big red letters.
I think as you and Kip are stepping over some people sleeping in the hall, he says, "Oh, these poor wayward souls, Mr. Langfisk. Poor wayward souls. We should get them to church, don't you think?" Mr. Langfisk?
Do you go to church, Kip?
Well, no, I don't go to church, but, well, these people really need it, don't you think? I don't. I'm a creature of impeccable virtue.
That's right, you and Brother Samuel both. Creatures of impeccable virtue, men of the cloth. You know what? Maybe I should have you two work on a nice little outing together. It seems he's been talking about how lonely he has been. Just no one there to listen to him while he rambles on about Bible verses. I think if you're such a virtuous sort, you could spend time with him. How does that sound, Kip?
Point taken, Mr. Langfisk. I think this is the number you said she lived at.
Very good, lad. If you would do the honors, please.
And he takes a handkerchief out of his little pocket to cover his hand when he turns the doorknob, and you can step inside. I want to check in with all the other characters, see what they're going to be doing, and then we'll get ready to take our first break. So, Lord Grey and Septimus, what do you each think you're going to do once you're done scouring the banks of the river?
Like, no, you. Probably, maybe if Vyn is down, sneak in a vulnerable scene before we go investigate some other places.
Oh my God, you read my mind.
Oh my God, I'm gonna offer you a
little
cocaine cigarette.
That's crazy.
Be thinking of whose vice is in play and what that scene looks like. Dr. Spectum, what will you be doing once you're done at the mortuary? Actually, are you still trying to get a body part, Dr. Spectum?
I mean, I did get one. So I think what I'm going to do is make sure that because Knox took the head. He is going to need to probably stick around. And
took Clara Yarborough's head.
Yeah, he is going to need to stick around and finish off all the business of the autopsy, so that no one comes back and sees that it is missing.
Very good. Very good. All right, that sounds like a plan. I do think when we get back, though, Dr. Spectum, I would like to have some of these body part flashbacks.
Yeah, I think that's what I figured. We could use my space as a way to catch up on those.
Yeah, that sounds a good idea. And Langfisk will be doing the apartment, of course. So why don't we go and take a 5-minute break?
Sounds good. All right, we will be back in about 5 minutes to keep on playing The Between. And we are live again here on Plus One EXP, heading back into the between after our first break.
Lord Grey, Septimus, please set up this vulnerable scene. Particularly, I want to know what vice is going on.
Well, either I offer you a cocaine cigarette or we go to the judge's house and have a threesome. So those are the options.
I know what I
Or,
vote
you know.
for, but yeah.
That's up to Septimus.
I mean, if you wanna, we can get spooky.
I mean,
I love it.
Let's go.
You have
Let's
free
go.
you have free access to the judge's townhouse because of the events of the previous day. If I remember correctly, they like tried to trap you or something.
yeah, I think like on the way, I tell Tim like that they tried to trap Langfisk in the basement or something, or some terrible little room. I don't remember. And the judge, I was up there in his office and he was crawling around, and it was frankly very disrespectful of the whole thing I was trying to do.
Yeah, I think they were trying to like get the I think they were trying to give like the ghost an opportunity to possess you. Lord
Yeah,
Grey?
it pretty much, yeah. Which, as I'm leading you to this place, I am regaling you with this whole thing. As if this is a perfectly fine place for us to. Well, you're here now. You're the spooky person. You can handle this. This is your thing.
I think the maid Poppy and Judge Thornwick will be very apologetic about the events of the previous day, and they will of course accept any assistance that Hargrave House is willing to offer when it comes to their haunted or their haunting. Hargrave House, of course, historically they were supposed to have disposed of this ghost before, but I guess it's back now, and there might be a connection to the cursed because the cursed showed up as well, and the judge like shot the cursed and it got away. But in any case, Septimus, how do you know that as soon as you cross the threshold of 14 Portman Square that the ghost is aware of you?
It's as simple as knowing someone else's like eyes are on you, just intensified. Forget like hair standing on, just an entire electric current shoots up their body, and set the calm down, it's fine, it's fine, and just like kind of recalibrate.
I mean, all of these things want to get with you, Septimus, in their way. Are you, I mean, what is the scene here? What's going to happen?
I think, unfortunately, they make themselves susceptible to possession. So, oh, my mic just did a little something weird. I get possessed.
Ghost.
Me, the player, V. Hi. No. I think that's how the vice takes place, is being possessed by the ghost. And
Oh, interesting. This is really interesting because it's almost like the possession has like a sexual component, right? Like it's like it's like the ghost is in you, which is really intriguing. I'm just curious, like Lord Grey, how do you view or experience this? Like, what is your impression of this situation?
I think I kind of knew where this was going because I knew what that ghost was vaguely propositioning, and I just wasn't interested in it at the time because I had other things going on, and frankly, they were being rude to me, so no. But now they've apologized, and like it's fine, and they've stroked my ego, and I think I'm kind of down to clown with whatever Tim's got going on. I don't know. Is this like the first time? Do I know that you do this thing, or is this like the first sort of like?
Yeah, what is it like, Tim? What's going
Yeah,
on?
like what do I see, and do I know you do this? Like on the reg.
download for monsters. I don't know. I think Yeah. I think what we like, as far as Hargrave House knows, is like a fascination and interest, and not necessarily the infatuation and flirtation and seduction, as it were. So this would be a first.
Oh. So what do I like? Do you remove the ghost from the judge? Like how? Like, do I know you're possessed?
I
What
think the
is-
ghost is just
Absolutely.
the ghost is just in the house. I don't
The
think the
ghost is
judge
just in the house.
the ghost is
Okay,
not
he's fine. Good.
possessing the judge at the moment. no.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause that was a lot spidery.
I think with that same Solander with rituals, typically using a cross to banish a spirit, they're using it to invite it. Possibly a small crucifix or like a cross they keep on like their persons, because why not? And open themselves. And this just whatever personality this ghost has, I have to go back and see. But it's you can see like that's not Tim, like that little nerd, meeker, whatever. And
Okay.
I mean,
I-
I say go with whatever you want here, Vyn, because we didn't really define the thing's personality
Okay.
too much. Yeah.
No, it moved around like a spider at me and was kind of flirty in a threatening way. And I think that's about it. And I don't know how much that was the judge. to be fair.
well, that's perfect. Just the
This-
stance, the eyes, the personality. You know that's not him.
Poppy and the
And-
judge give you some. They give you like a. I think they like let you have access to a room in the townhouse. The scene is yours, so take it away.
Well, hello.
Good evening.
This is a new little trick.
Is it a trick? I thought it was something. Well, it seems like a conversation is happening inside. Your friend is weird.
You're one to talk. You little creature, right?
Please, you're going to make me blush.
You know, I like this vessel a lot better than the last one. I'm just going to be frank with you. It's an improvement.
He's squirming.
He
I don't think he takes compliments well.
doesn't. It's a shame, really. They need to work on that. But you take them well, don't you?
And other things.
Oh.
There's something here. Something he, she, what have you, won't admit. I think that's why it gave weight of me.
Something here or some other little creature beside you?
No, I'm talking about this thing.
Oh, good. Okay. I don't want. Listen, I am very open to however many want to get involved, but I do like to know beforehand before they just start waltzing in whatever godforsaken body. You know, it's a shame that they need something like this to act on desires. Seems like a cage.
Well, I don't need it. And we can secure ourselves, and I'm sure it's watching from its own eyes.
As long as they are. That sounds
oh, yes,
very
consentingly
interesting.
consented to this.
Oh, you're both quite cute. I think we can make time for this.
Either way, Lord Grey.
Very interesting. We will pick up with this in a moment. I am curious what conditions we think might be getting cleared.
I mean, I'm going for getting rid of Shaken. It's causing
Yeah.
me problems.
And probably drained, I imagine, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
it's though. I
Yeah.
mean, it seems like a real stretch to think that you aren't about to get shaken and that you might not be a little bit, and you might be a little drained afterwards. No, I'm just kidding.
Listen,
clear
I'm a
no
different
conditions.
kind. Oh my god.
Fine.
Like
go from shaken to
here's
stirred.
Like,
It's good. Think about the bonus, Tim. Either finding the clue or inviting Lord Grey to ask you a question about the past. Maybe asking the ghost a question about the past. That would be weird, right? Let's check in with Knox. Knox, you ready to do some narrating for us?
yeah. I think we so I want to place these a little bit, I think, as we kind of see the body starting to take shape a little bit more. We see Knox finish up some paperwork, zip the body up into the process, and we see him zip up his bag, having slid something inside, and head back to Hargrave House. Up in his laboratory, we see him take something that looks kind of matted at first out of the flesh terrarium. It's very obvious that it didn't sit there that long. It's a long kind of mat of wet hair that we see Knox pull out, stretch over the skull of Julius, do a little bit of light trimming, and then slide it over the head. Slide it into the water that he has been putting all the body parts into as if in preparation for something. And as he's doing so, we see him flash back to a time all of a sudden where the glass eye, for the first time ever that we always see, or the monocle that we always see Knox reflected in, isn't reflecting Knox at all, but reflecting the image of Knox's mother, as seen sitting in front of a vanity, saying, "Charles, please, no one is able to take care of it quite like you do. The ladies of the house, they're too delicate, and I'd just really appreciate it if you could drop the facade and help me out, because you know that you're better at this than anyone else, and I really need your help." And we see in this reflection of a reflection, subtle motion, as we can tell that young Knox, about 14 years old, is looking on into the room. So we see Charles kind of, "Yes, Mom," and slowly begin, obviously kind of undoing a very poor attempt to set her hair up for what looks like some sort of fancy gala, pulling it back down, unknotting it, and then quickly and delicately, with strong and firm fingers, knotting it back together, weaving in a few pieces of jewelry, and making an exquisite kind of hair presentation for Knox's mother. And there's this continual line of, is there romance here? And there might be, but at first, all that we note is the deft skill and confidence that Charles displays, and Knox becomes enraptured by the way the hair kind of just falls through his fingers. Then at the very end, his mother reaches up as if to touch the hair, and her hand lingers for just a second on Charles' hands before she says, "Thank you so much."
Inside Clara Yarborough's flat, stacks of other people's washing, peeling wallpaper, a smell of mildew. Paint the scene. Clara Yarborough didn't have much, but she kept a few small, pretty things. What are they?
A silver hairbrush. It's tarnished, but it is exquisitely crafted.
Too bad you can't get Echoes of the Night right now, huh?
I know, right?
Look, we'll see what happens later. We see a torn ticket of a ride from the fair by the Thames, from a fancy day out.
There's a tiny little enameled box, ovular in shape. That if you open the lid, a small ballerina opens, like pops out, and you can turn a knob, and it does a little dance. And then once you complete the turns, the song gets done playing. It pops out, and then it can hold a ring or something of that nature. Whatever you want to put in there, a little tchotchke. And I think we do see Langfisk pick that up and pocket it.
If you didn't, Kip was. So
Like Kip, I'm going to steal what you guys already described. There is a collection of handkerchiefs kind of rolled together in different colors. Way more expensive than she should have had, but they're there.
Kip's kind of, he's looking around. He says, "So what are we looking for, Mr. Langfisk?"
Miss Yarborough was brutally murdered. We're going to see if we can find any signs of struggle here, or if there's any signs that could lead us to her killer. Or if we can find any answers whatsoever that connects with all of this. And then corrects himself towards the end and goes, also, she was in charge of some other work that I had her on. So if you see anything related to that, then please bring it to me, Toot Sweet.
He crosses his arms and he says, "Oh, so you're here to cover your tracks."
I'm here to pick up some tracks, mate. But if there are some tracks that I need to cover up, then I will do that as well. And that includes throwing a squirrely little bastard out that flat window.
No troubles, Mr. Langfisk. If someone from Scotland Yard comes knocking on my door, he doesn't have a door, I won't say anything. Mum's the word.
Keep it that way, then. I'll come on you.
And he says, "Of course, one might suggest that I'm not being paid quite enough for my noble efforts here this afternoon."
Oh, I'm certain that you probably found something at Hargrave House that would more than cover the great divide of payment that you haven't found just yet. But if I spot something, I'll let you know.
He instinctively covers his hand over his pocket. Good. I love it. So because Kip is helping you search, you actually get advantage. And so you'll be rolling 3d6 and taking the two highest on reason.
At least medium money with no whammies. Perhaps. Let's see. Okay. With reason? 10.
Yeah, nice. Good.
And I will bump that up as well.
Oh, very interesting indeed. Well, let me give you the clue first then. You're looking around. Kip is able to kind of crawl into places and get into places that are not exactly easy for you to get into. And I think he says, "Do you smell that, Mr. Langfisk?" And I don't mean the smell of mildew or any of the people out in the hall. No, it's a pretty smell. And he goes over to what appears to be it's actually like there's a little hallway, a little kind of like a secret passage between two apartments. A little narrow hall with a door that connects up to the next apartment. He opens it up and you smell perfume. It's very, very faint, but it's definitely there. And I don't know how much you know about such things, Langfisk, but it's incredibly expensive perfume. That is your clue. He says, what do you suppose it means?
It means that somebody either gifted that to her or they wanted to make sure that she had it.
Or they were wearing it while they were lying in wait. Do you suppose Sally No Face likes expensive French perfume, Mr. Langfisk?
Perhaps. Or maybe Sally No Face is trying to cover up another smell. One of the two.
Ugh, if I had to spend any amount of time here, I certainly would. I wonder where this hallway goes.
Why don't you go ahead and check? I'll get my eye on you. I'll get you back. Goes ahead and grabs from my back, and I grab the boomerang. I'll just grab the boomerang.
Yeah.
I've got you, mate.
I love it. Oh, good. He goes down this little hall, and there's another equivalent door in the other flat, and he listens at it. And then he motions to you like, there's someone in there. I can hear them talking. What do you do?
I'm going to motion to him to keep an ear, stay quiet. I'm going to try to climb out the window and see if I can sneak around on the outside to listen in from the window as well. So in case they try to leave and they catch into him, I can either distract them or something like that as well.
I like it. That's going to be the day move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I'm afraid I'm going to topple onto the cobble below.
A fair thing to be worried about. 2d6 is fine.
And that's with vitality?
Yeah.
Okay. Good thing. That's a 2 and a 4 plus 3 is a 9.
9. I love it. It's good. Okay, great. I have a very interesting scene in mind. Let's check back in with 14 Portman Square. Septimus, which of the bonuses would you like?
I'll invite Lord Grey to ask a question.
Okay, Lord Grey. Thoughts on the question?
I need elaboration. Septimus or the ghost?
Oh yeah, that is a good question. I'm gonna roll a die. Evens for Tim, odd for the ghost. I know.
God, you and your dice.
It's a 1, so the ghost.
Oh, fun.
Nice.
Okay.
I'll give you a little bit of what we know about the ghost so far as a reminder. We don't know much, but we do know that Hargrave House originally tried to banish the ghost, and Judge Thornwick has a connection to Hargrave House as a result.
Okay. I think this is probably after we've done everything. What room did they set us up in?
You're like in a guest bedroom.
Okay,
there's
fabulous.
A 4-poster bed
very
and
cozy.
all that kind of thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Lord Grey has put on none of his clothes. He's just naked as the day he was born. But he is casually lounging with Tim and the ghost. Like, they do this all the time. This is super normal. And pauses for a second and what do you want? Why are you still around? I was of the impression that things like you stick around for a reason, all this unfinished business and whatnot. What's yours?
Would it be cheap if I said I'm just very petty? Your little
No.
Hargrave friends didn't do a good job.
Really?
Really?
Hmm. I don't doubt that. You seem clever, and I can respect pettiness. So what is it? Revenge?
Perhaps. Or it could be that you were all so rude, and I apologize for being rude, but I had to do something to avenge my pride, is all.
There's no need to apologize for pride. You're in good company here. But I don't think you've done anything, really. What? Been rude to me once, occasionally, a little bit? That's not much Hargrave House revenge. I'm just not to give you notes on your revenge plot. But
No, keep going. Please.
I'm just
please.
saying that that's not exactly a blow to anyone.
And you would know about blows.
I would.
And I think with that, like, kind of some wild breathing off, the shoulders fall slack and the confidence just inks out bit by bit. And despite initiating, participating, and everything else, as red as can be.
Oh, you're back. Hello.
I should find your clothes. I should find my clothes. This was educational. I learned a lot about possession and anatomy.
I learned a lot too. You're rather talented, or you're a good team member.
Yes, I think that went from the collaboration and just some buttoning and keeping
my
their
God.
eyes in a completely different direction.
And I think as you do that, it's just, you don't have to do all of this again if you ever want to do this again, right? You don't have to go through this whole song and dance. There's no need.
Maybe not for you. You don't need the actual someone else to do the mechanics for you, but thanks. Thank you. Thank you.
That's one thing you can say to another person, yes. But do work on doing things yourself. I think you'd find you like it.
I mean, I was quite present. Sensation-wise, I was still here, so it is considered to be more autonomous in these situations.
I'm sure. And he just does not get dressed for too long. Like, he waits until you are fully dressed. It's like a power move. Like, he just waits. And then finally does before they leave.
Lord Grey, I think I would like for you to scar your reflection after.
I
all
knew
this
it.
stuff.
Damn it.
What? No, I would never offer to help a ghost.
Be thinking about how the events at 14 Portman Square are a stain to your soul and how they are affecting the painting.
Okay.
And give us that when we return. Dr. Spectrum, is there anything you want to do quickly?
I
like
have
one
2 more
scene?
body parts I need to do. I can go slightly lighter on these.
Please keep going. We're here for it. We're here to be entertained.
So we see the clunk down of the large bag with many pockets up in the faux clock tower laboratory. We see Knox pull out the skillfully, but not quite so skillfully as the other surgeon's severed head um, of Miss Yarborough. The face removed, hair pulled back and off. He takes a scraping out of the flesh terrarium, spreads it over the features of the face, molds it for a minute, looks slightly dissatisfied, molds it again, and then plunges it into the water and pulls the hair down on it. As all of a sudden we see in the reflection of the monocle of Charles, Knox's face up close as he was just a second ago to the face he was molding, running his hand along a uniform's collar, straightening a helmet on Knox's head. They're almost eye to eye. Charles is still a few inches taller. Your father would be proud, Charles says to him. I know that we're between conflicts right now, but the world needs Britain, and the army needs medics. This tour will show you the world, and know that he and I are always watching over you.
Langfist, just so we have a good sense of what's going on here, I'm imagining that you are like on like a ledge going out behind, or basically going to like look into the window of the other flat, right? Where we're having our Hitchcock moment here, right? As you walk out to the ledge.
Oh, who's that in that rear window? Oh.
Can we just talk about what a fool Jimmy Stewart's character is in that movie, to have Grace Kelly looking more beautiful than like any person's ever looked, and he's just like, yeah.
I'm sorry. I just gotta keep being remorse and staring outside my window.
Yeah. Okay. You see an interesting scene. First of all, your very good friend, Mrs. Brathwaite, is in that apartment. And so is Sally No Face. Mrs. Brathwaite, of course, is in blue as usual. Sally she's wearing a long white, like lab coat, and it's very form-fitting. And she has long black rubber gloves, and she wears a mask over her face, a wooden mask. And they have in this apartment a number of people bolted to walls, shackled to walls and tables. Some of them have pins in their face, stretching the skin and pinning it up against a wall behind them. Others are just kind of crawling around in the room, their hands and face wrapped in bandages that are seeping bits of blood. There's one person who is standing amidst a trio of mannequins. Well, there's two mannequins and then them, and just holding their position. They're all dressed in finery. And you can tell that they're wearing someone else's face. And the two of them are very focused on one particular person on a table. Well, I am, of course, very unhappy to hear that you no longer require my services, Mrs. Brathwaite. I was so interested in the work you've been doing with regards to preserving life. Of course, I feel that life is only worth preserving if it is a beautiful life, if it is a life worth living. Some people, they They live lives of no import, of no beauty. And frankly, the faster they go, the better for all of us. It's too bad, though. I was making very good progress on this one. And there's a man on the table you can see now. He looks terrified, and he can't move. I found this one to be, well, as you can see, I've done quite remarkable work. It helps when they already start with so many qualities. I recently performed a surgery on one Dame Margaret Teasdale. She represents some of my very best work, though in truth I was lucky she wasn't a complete ogress when I started. Renovating a house is so much easier when the foundation is solid, don't you think? And that's what we have with this lovely young chap here. Mrs. Brathwaite seems bored by all of this. And she says, well, thanks again. Perhaps you could try to maintain a lower profile. I do regret seeing your work in the newspaper a lot as of late. And she turns and leaves. Langfisk, I would like the day move from you. What are you afraid is going to happen if you lose your nerve right now?
That I will alert them to my presence.
Indeed. I would like for you to roll with composure. And I think because of suspicious, I think there's probably like somebody was keeping an eye on you when you came in the building in the first place. So roll with disadvantage as well.
I am going to mark bush herbal medicine from my personal quarters as seeing Braithwaite and feeling my blood boil. I think Langfisk is going to roll his eyes and then stick a finger into a pocket and pull out like this dried up kind of weed and just stick it in the mouth and just focus on it, just soothing and just like remain calm. You're like water. Somebody famous is going to say that one day. You're like water.
Very well. Regular dice. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail? That they notice you? That was what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
4. You hear a voice from above on the top of the roof, just a few feet above you. Well, hello, sir. I do have to ask the question, what are you doing looking in on my employer doing her work? There is a boy, about 12, 13 years old. He's dressed in a very dapper manner, I would say. A very interesting, fashion-forward little blazer and shorts and a cricket cap. He's much cleaner and neater in appearance than Kip. Oh, and speaking of Kip, our new boy, Kip has been captured by this character who has a big thug with him. Does this one belong to you, sir?
Good, my lord. You found my son. I was up climbing around in these roofs and eaves trying to find that old boy. Tim, get down here right now. What I told you about climbing up in them eaves and roofs? Well, I ought to collar you, I will. I ought to collar you.
He says, oh, sir, I do think you are trying to get my goat, but let me assure you, sir, my goat is not easily got. I have many questions. But for now, I think it would be more enjoyable to play catch. And the thug just throws Kip off the building.
There's a split second of Langfist going, that's a bad investment. And then, fuck. And then just not even going to like try to run to like try to like catch Kip or anything like that, but is going to try to dive to where Kip will be. So I'm going to try to stop the brunt, maybe like try to push Kip towards like a canopy or something.
Yeah, I'm saying, well, you're a few stories up, so you're gonna basically just try to like knock Kip into like safety, essentially. Like, is that the idea?
Yeah, like hopefully there's a pile of trash or homeless that he was talking shit about earlier that might be able to catch him or something like that. If I can just run, I'm gonna take the brunt of it and just like knock the kid somewhere.
This is the day move. What are you afraid is gonna happen if you fail?
Then we're both gonna go splat.
I think that's probably right. Yeah. Go ahead and roll with vitality. And vitality is, I mean, or is it quick thinking? I think it might be quick thinking. It's reason.
That is a 12 with
Nice.
it's a 5, 6 plus 1.
Wow.
Composure.
Very good. Nice. Please describe how you safely how you rescue Kip.
Just go, bloody hell. And then just run. And I think the next thing we see is just this quiet, mild-mannered apartment with an old man just reading a paper. It's a really ratty looking place. And then there's just a crash, a boom, as you just see two bodies collide through like the glass window and the wall. Just knocked into it as Langfisk has just dove and shoved Kip into this person's apartment on the way down. And then the old man is just staring down at the two of them, and Langfisk is on his back and just going, oh, fuck, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And then just like Kip is just like, I think I'm okay. I think there's nothing. I've dingied up my coat. Just like.
I love it. We're gonna get ready to wrap up our day phase here, but I want to check in with Lord Grey and Scarring the Reflection.
So what we've seen of this reflection so far is pretty upsetting. There's a lot of vaguely supernatural elements, but mostly like currently before this, the portrait of Lord Grey just looks like a very haggard, older version of him. Like a rough, like this guy's lived the way he has lived. Somebody who does coke every day. But I think it takes on almost like a supernatural element, and it's there's almost a flash to the first sort of mirror incident at the first haunted house where an eyeball just sort of like falls out of socket, and he's no longer like human, or if he was, he would be in a very bad way. He would need to go to a hospital. Like he's surpassed it.
Nice. Any other things to wrap up in the day phase that we need to?
I have to talk about blood.
You want? Let's take us out. Take our day phase out with that.
As the sun begins to set and the sky starts to shine through the window in that kind of a fiery way that it does late in the day into the clock tower, we see Nox walk over to an odd jar of blood that's floating between two metal discs, the blood kind of pushing back and forth between it, and picks it up as it kind of settles down. soon, hopefully, Patrick. And then I run the blood that we took of Rick Miller's down into the giant vat as I take out my pocket watch and look at it. My face reflected down at it. We see a shell-shocked, or what appears to be shell-shocked Knox. Not in the eye of this. We leave him in the reflection of a curved surface and come into him just in the middle of a tent full of bodies, smattered and covered in blood. And he reads a letter from home, from Charles. It's finally made it to the front line. And it's in this moment that he learns that his mother has died and that Charles is taking care of the estate in his stead, but that he'll need to come home soon. He looks at the bodies around him, and we see him start to withdraw into himself a little bit more until another body is brought in, and he smiles and rushes over to start to care for the wounded.
Fantastic. Dusk phase. This is a really inconvenient time for me not to be able to see the phase tracker.
All right, chat, this is a test for you. Tell us
Chat,
what the first move is in order.
What we do in the dusk phase. I'm just going to pull up the reference sheet. Hold on. I do have the reference sheet somewhere in my game folders. Let's see here. Okay, I've got it. Dusk. Resolve any playbook moves that are resolved during the dusk phase. I know for sure we have a couple of mother moves, but I'm not sure about anybody else.
I don't think anybody else does have a dusk phase right now.
So you doing night work tonight, or do you want to?
Yeah, I'll do night work tonight again.
Oh, again. Okay, good. And what about the Resurrectionists? You going to put them on the job?
We are going to put the Resurrectionists on the job.
Go ahead and make your Resurrectionist choices now so I can be thinking about how they might affect things.
Yeah, we're going to do, I think we're going to do the grave robbers will search for other valuables that night, and the grave robbers will dig up a corpse during the night.
Nice, very good. Man, this child is going to be, we're going to be bringing this thing to life very soon.
Yep.
That's exciting. Love it. Okay, great. And you've got night work. Let's keep going here. What's the next thing? My goodness, I haven't had to look at this PDF in 4 years. Paint the scene about Hargrave House. Okay, great. Well, let's do... Let's do the ballroom. Hargrave House once hosted a ball for a group of visitors from the Fey realm. Even today, there are subtle reminders of that night in this room. What are they?
A masquerade mask that smells like a forest.
Anyone who wears anything made of iron into the room has discoloration and burn marks on their skin the next morning.
If you stand still, you can hear the laughter of someone's name they stole.
Underneath the tables and chairs in the little corners, you can see little, like, Gumdrop was here, graffiti in Sylvan script.
fucking gumdrop. Um,
Can't take them anywhere.
Can't take them anywhere. Fantastic. Very good. Next, let's talk about answering a question. Do you all want to have a go at one of these questions?
We have enough for the cursed. Just saying.
You have 1, 2, 3. It would be a flat roll if you worked them all in.
It would be a flat roll,
Yeah.
but this is just a note. We could.
Does anyone have a theory?
I mean, I do.
You want to throw it out there and just see where it goes?
If it is reversible, what is the creature's weakness? Well, as we know, most people will say that it's either silver or that a werewolf is terrified of water or things of these natures. But it's actually a simple one. It has to be a holy water from a church basin. Lycanthrope communities lingering near churches as almost of like a protect the thing that can hurt you almost. It's instinctual in their brain. That's wired in their brain. Harley overheard a story of someone who escaped the beast by diving to the Thames. That somebody was a priest or a preacher.
Oh, that's good detail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that
Yeah.
it made the Thames holy at one point.
Hmm.
Dark shaggy hair inside the torso, in the wounds, almost like a instinctual reflex. The wolf not wanting to get the hair of it, like its fur matted in like holy water, it'll shift in points, leaving this weird juxtaposition of like matted hair caught inside of like body parts or wounds or something. It's this weird like half transformation thing where because it wants it's like the human skin can touch the water, but the wolf fur can't.
Kind of like when a chicken gets got and it fluffs out all of its feathers, or like when a lizard loses its tail.
Absolutely, but it's happening on the inside of the person.
I'm not sure about this one.
I was like, that's a big reach.
I just need it to be explained to me.
Let me put a spin on. I have a spin.
The first two clues are really good. They're really good.
Well, I think I have a fun spin for this also too. I think like, even a narrative like hearing Langford say that, like I love sciencing it up a bit. Like, is there something about the church's baptismal font? Maybe it looks like it's made out of silver. Maybe it's reported to be a holy artifact. But if it is metal, and there is some sort of interaction between
because of the blood,
between the metal and the water, and the lycanthrope communities are around the church because it's rumored that the baptismal font water like slows down the curse and potentially reverses it. So they are cropping up there with hope.
Oh, they're doing it from. Oh, they want to.
They want to get to the water. I mean, I even think the like, you know, whether it was a priest or maybe it was somebody who purported to be a priest, who had stolen a thurible or something else that came from the same construction of the silver baptismal font, jumped into the Thames, and the combination of water and this metal are creating a chemical reaction that has an effect. Oh, this would be Knox is like a chemical reaction.
The scientific explanation,
and everybody else could be like, it's supernatural, magic. It's a magical relic from another time. I think tons of rumors, but essentially it's an interaction between this specific font and water, and other artifacts from that are slowing down and potentially can reverse the effects of lycanthropy, and that's why these communities are popping up around it.
That's really interesting. It's really interesting. I think it's interesting that the werewolf did not follow the priest into the Thames, which indicates that at least when it's fully wolfed out, he doesn't want to be. He wants to maintain, right?
Yeah, the human side of the lycanthrope is like, let's slow this down. The wolf side,
it's the human communities that are like, that are like trying to to be saved here. That's really interesting. I mean, I think that's 3 clues pretty well accounted for. I am not certain about this fur one. It's a very hard clue.
Okay. So I think I have something.
Okay.
I also just have to know, I really love the concept of Nox sort of just regaling everybody with the why this is science.
Yeah,
after
and
we've
everyone
all
just
been
being like,
debating.
okay.
And Nox is like, I have my PowerPoint.
I've got a theory.
I think this is actually, it works a little bit with that. The whole, it's like it sheds like any I think the beast's constant transformation, I think the hair is like falls off pretty readily, and I think that it indicates like if it is closer to shifting back into a human, the hair will fall off. If it gets in contact with something that like really hurts it, it'll fall off. And so like maybe it's like they're weaker when they're partially transformed, or like they're more susceptible to this, or like Wes, I see you. Please, my brain makes sense.
Is the torso like the torso and wounds? Is that related to one of the bodies?
So
that
it is
a
one of the
victim.
bodies we found.
It was a victim.
Yeah.
So what if that victim had holy water on them for some reason, and so when they were attacked and they were gored, torso, they reflexively.
What if they just like taken communion or something?
So it shed.
So the creature started to slough off its skin in the middle of the attack.
And it got caught inside of the wound.
Yes,
that's really good. That's good. Okay, we got there. I'm into it. We got there. So
teamwork makes the dream work.
And so holy water from particular basins is the deal. If no one has any additions or objections, I'm here for it. I think it's super solid. It's still just a flat roll, but but we'll see how it goes.
I think Wes, this has got to be yours. I think.
I would like to offer this to OG Rick Miller to roll for us.
And I'll just throw out this now. I'm willing to put on a mask for Rick Miller if we need to bump this up.
Mask for Rick Miller.
Okay. Jesus Christ. Oh, big money, no whammies. It's an 11.
What?
Very nice. Very nice. So yeah, that's great. That means this is going to work. At some point, probably tonight, Rick will return to Hargrave House, because we know he will, in werewolf form, but maybe it won't be as difficult an encounter as it could have been. But we'll see. I think it's still a big werewolf coming into the house. So we'll kind of see how it goes. But that's great. The opportunity is unlocked. You are ready to do the thing. Well, okay. So with that in mind, I will say that just as an out of character thing, that yes, this will be the night that Rick Miller returns.
Oh yeah. Hey, I'm sorry, y'all. I did night work already.
Oh yeah, Nox is not even there. Nox is doing night work. Well, and Lord Grey, you have a date with, or I know, Septimus, you have a date with Greco.
Yeah.
So is it just Langfisk and Lord Grey dealing with
you
this?
and me, buddy. the people Rick dislikes the most.
Maybe Periwinkle as well. Could be. I don't know. But let's check in with everybody. I mean, so for this night phase, Nox, we know what you're up to. Septimus, are you actually going to meet Greco, or do you want to do that some other time?
I'll go see him. Like, I made promises.
Yeah, sounds good. I have a fun idea for that, actually. I think you're going to like it. Langfisk and Lord Grey, then are you on werewolf duty? Is that the plan? Fantastic. That is our night phase sorted. Let's talk about the unseen, which is the sole provenance of Tony tonight again. But we love it. Tony, I'll let you pick.
You let me pick?
I'll let you pick.
Let's let chat pick.
Chat, pick. But pick quickly so we can go on break.
I'll tell you what, we can go ahead and kick to break, because it'll take a minute or so for chat to catch up. And really, when I say chat, I mean whatever Chaotic says is the one we're gonna do.
Right.
And then, we do have some.
We do have Grand Guignons left.
So we'll let Chaotic pick, or do a Grand Guignon, one of the two. But we'll kick to break, and I'll have plenty of time to look at it. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Chaotic, the pressure is off. We're going to do good for her.